All right, so working our way through this last Ennead number 9. Um, so I wanted to just quickly review the ninth Ennead, which is called Following the Way of Truth. We started with the first, which was in the beginning was the way. Second was the coming of the way. Third was the opening of the way. Fourth was the emptying of the way. Fifth was the way of quenching desire. Sixth was the way of humility and forgiveness. Seventh was the way of perfect love. The last Ennead we did was the way of suffering. And finally, before we get to part 2 of the book, the ninth Ennead is following the way of truth. So, chapter 73. The ancient sage, follower of the way, said, "The way is like an empty vessel that may yet be drawn from without ever needing to be filled. It is like a deep pool that never dries. And the way, when he became flesh, said to the woman at the well, 'Whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall become in him a well of water springing up into unending life.' Before you can drink of the still pool concealed under the ground of sorrow, you must become like the pool, become like the water which can only flow down. The water has one law to follow, and it never fails to follow it. People too have laws to follow, laws of the universe not invented by man, simple laws yet unchanging, inexorable. There can be no others. There can be none better. Not even the maker of the universe will change you unless you change your mind, unless you abandon the path of avarice, sensual pleasure, and self-exaltation, unless you collapse, fold in on yourself, and open out of yourself. Unless you release everything, redirect all your energy, despoil yourself of all that is not the way, strip your heart of all created things, renounce your will, inclinations, whims, and fancies, and allow yourself to be carried by him downstream, down to the still pool, drinking of which you shall never thirst again." Chapter 74. At the birth of love, there is no decision to be made. Spontaneously it arises as if it had always been there. But for love to endure, a decision must be made, the decision to sacrifice oneself for one's beloved. So it is with the one who follows the way out of love, who seeks to become one with him. The decision is not to love, but to sacrifice. And sacrifice is the evidence and confirmation of love. Chapter 75. There are those, said the ancient sage, who would conquer the world and make it of what they desire. I see they will not succeed. The world is like a hollow utensil and cannot be manipulated. That which is not the way soon fades away. Hence the sage assists the natural development of all things, even though he does not venture to interfere. When something accords with the way, all creation aids it. But when the way rejects something, creation too opposes it. The stream flows gently, but its course is inexorable. There are many directions, but there is only one way by which the stream flows. The way has given to the soul freedom of movement and power over herself. Exercising this freedom and this power, she may think she is fulfilling her true nature, not knowing that her nature was made not merely to move, but to move in the right direction. As free of the way, one can go in many directions, but then one becomes a slave of those directions. As a slave of the way, one can follow not but one course, but then one is free. Universal freedom is a lie, because there is only one course in the universe, not many. Yet universal freedom is true, because in following the one universal course, one encompasses the cosmos. Having the freedom of choice, one chooses freedom from choice. Chapter 76. It is better to leave alone, said the ancient sage, than to forcibly attempt to make full. The hall that is filled with gold and jade is not easy to protect. Pride and riches and honors must lead to calamity. Even if we have a great abundance of everything, it will always seem to us that we are deprived. We will always be in fear, despondent, agitated, faint-hearted, every hour full of cares, anxieties, and vain sighting, until we turn again to the way and raise ourselves to him, as the sunflower ever turns and raises itself to the sun. Chapter 77. The way is not found by those who seek after signs, although he may give signs. The way is not found by those who seek after wonders, although he may manifest wonders. The way is not found among those who seek after communion with spirits, although he alone is pure spirit and is adored by spirits. Those who seek after signs may behold false signs. Those who seek after wonders may be deceived by lying wonders. Those who seek after communion with spirits may come into the contact with dark spirits hiding under the guise of light. The way is not found by these seekers, but by those who, whether they seek or not, are irresistibly drawn to what is wise and true, to what is simple and pure, to what is childlike, to what is lowly and sadly beautiful. Chapter 78. The way of heaven, being himself simple and undivided, wants souls that come to him to be simple and guileless, immune to crafty thinking, far removed from all ulterior motive, with unmeddling thought, sincere character, frank and unpremeditated speech. Even customary human knowledge, with its many notions, deliberations, and subtleties, hinders one from entering into primal, ununified simplicity, the guilelessness of one's true nature. Therefore, said the ancient sage, empty yourself of everything, attain the utmost purity. Let the mind rest at peace. And the way of heaven, when it became flesh, said, let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit to its stature? If then you are not able to do as small a thing as that, why take thought for the rest? The follower of the way thus frees himself from worry, planning, and calculation, from slavery to human concepts, not allowing himself to be carried along by thoughts and images. He establishes himself in a childlike state of mind, becoming an infant, yet he yet lacks the deficiencies of an infant. Being an adult, he yet lacks the complexities of an adult. Become as a little child once more, said the ancient sage. And the way, when he became flesh, said, unless you are converted and becomes as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. That is, into spiritual divine vision, wherein as an innocent babe one basks in the simple delight of the simple truth that is above compounded knowledge. For the secret things, said the way, have been hidden from the wise and prudent, and have been revealed unto babes, the pure in heart, and they alone shall see him as he is. Chapter 79. The essence of the way, said the ancient sage, is supremely true. Within is the evidence. From the beginning until now, its name has remained, and it contains all truth. A two-faced person, one who is one thing outwardly and another inwardly, such a one not only lies, but makes his very life a lie. Guile and duplicity sap one's power, engendering cowardice and fear. But the honest and true person, one who is the same outwardly and inwardly, remains unconfused, and thus his boldness without fear. When the way returns, he will come with boldness and with power, for there is no falsehood to be found in him. He has boldness because he is one. He has power because he is not double. He is unconquerable because he cannot be divided. His eye is single, and the light of his eye fills the whole body of his unique eternal being. Wholly single, simple, and unconfused, he is therefore wholly true. And not only true yet, nor yet an embodiment of truth, but truth itself, for he said, I am truth. Chapter 80. The way is hidden without name, said the ancient sage, yet it alone supports all things and brings them into fulfillment. When the way comes to a child hurting, afraid, unknowing, the child becomes a man, deep, strong, and wise. When the way comes to a man jaded and stained, the man becomes a child, innocent and pure. In the way there is a reversal, a circle of return, that each thing may become whole and complete in itself, and each person a universe. Final chapter, chapter 81. One who sees all ways as having equal truth will find his life not long enough to follow the way to the end. One cannot be simple and guileless, free of multiple deliberations. One will be as a person having many lovers, occupied with each, yet given wholly to none. One will not be married to the way, but will remain outside the bridal chamber. To be married to the way is to belong wholly to him, To belong wholly to him is to have him belong wholly to you. It is only then that he can finish his work inside you. It is only then that he can carry you to his end, where there shall never be separation from him, the sole bridegroom. That ends the poetic portion of this book. The first part. Part 2 is what we'll continue next, which is entitled "The Unfolding Revelation of Tao in Human History." I'll read a little bit from chapter 1, the first section here, to give us a little flavor of what this second part is about. So, Departure from the Way, chapter 1, subtitle Pristine Simplicity. In the beginning, man was created in a state of pristine simplicity, pure awareness. His thoughts and memories were not diversified and fragmented as they are today, but were simple and one-pointed. He knew no mental distraction. While being wiser than any human being today, he was in a state of innocence like a child. And in this state, he lived in deep personal communion with God, the Tao, Logos, and with the rest of creation, holding spiritual converse with them. Being in such close communion with God, primordial man participated directly in God's uncreated energy, which he experienced as a divine and ineffable light which flooded his whole being. He was, as it were, clothed in this light. Primordial man possessed self-awareness, that is, he was aware of an I, of being a unique creation endowed with freedom of will. Made in the image of God, he had an immortal spirit that could draw eternally closer to his Creator. All of this gave him his special sense of personhood. Unlike the people of today, however, he did not have a sense of individuality. By this, we mean that he did not live under the illusion that,